Anthony Edward Stark, a name synonymous with brilliance, innovation, and a touch of arrogance. Born with a silver spoon, he was the heir apparent to Stark Industries, a titan in the world of weapons manufacturing. Even as a child, Tony displayed an almost supernatural aptitude for engineering and technology. He built his first circuit board at 6, a working engine at 9, and by 14, had graduated top of his class from MIT. Tony's genius was undeniable, but it was often overshadowed by his flamboyant lifestyle. He was known for his lavish parties, his quick wit, and his charm, which seemed to work flawlessly on everyone except Pepper Potts, his ever-patient and secretly smitten personal assistant. Despite his carefree demeanor, Tony carried the weight of his father's legacy on his shoulders, determined to prove himself worthy of the Stark name. However, the shadow of his father, Howard Stark, loomed large. Howard was a legend, a visionary who had revolutionized modern warfare with his inventions. Tony both idolized and resented his father. He admired his father's intellect and drive, but yearned for his approval, which always seemed just out of reach. When Howard died in a tragic car accident, a young Tony inherited Stark Industries, forever changing the course of his life and the fate of the world. Years later, Tony Stark, now CEO of Stark Industries, found himself on a flight to Afghanistan. He was there to personally oversee the demonstration of his latest creation, the Jericho, a state-of-the-art missile system that promised to revolutionize modern warfare. Tony, ever the showman, was eager to unveil his masterpiece to the world. He believed Jericho held the key to ending conflicts, that its sheer power would deter any adversary, ushering in a new era of peace through superior firepower. The Afghan desert stretched before him, a sea of sand bathed in the harsh glare of the midday sun. Military officials and dignitaries from around the globe gathered, their eyes fixed on the gleaming Jericho missile, a symbol of Stark Industries' technological prowess. With a confident smirk and a wink at Pepper Potts, who watched with a mixture of pride and apprehension, Tony prepared to unveil his creation, oblivious to the danger lurking just beneath the surface. As Tony delivered his presentation, his words echoed across the barren landscape, filled with the usual Stark charisma and a touch of arrogance. He spoke of Jericho as a weapon to end all wars, a deterrent so powerful that it would render conflict obsolete. However, unknown to Tony, his words were being monitored, his every move scrutinized by a hidden enemy with plans of their own. A storm was brewing, and Tony Stark was about to be caught in its epicenter. The demonstration concluded, and the roar of the Jericho missile echoed across the desolate landscape. Moments later, the world exploded in a deafening roar. Tony, momentarily blinded by the blast, stumbled, his ears ringing. Chaos erupted. The ground shook violently as an unseen force ambushed the convoy. Armed insurgents swarmed the area, their weapons spitting fire and fury. The world spun, a chaotic blur of gunfire and screams. Tony, dazed and disoriented, found himself dragged from the wreckage of his Humvee. He caught a glimpse of the attackers, the Ten Rings, a notorious terrorist organization, their insignia emblazoned on their fatigues. Pain shot through his body as he was thrown to the ground, his world shrinking down to the dust and the fear that clawed at his throat. As Tony drifted in and out of consciousness, he saw him. Yinsen, a fellow captive, a brilliant engineer who had the misfortune of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. It was Yinsen who saved Tony's life, using his ingenuity to remove most of the shrapnel that riddled his chest, keeping his heart beating with a makeshift electromagnet. It was in that dark, desolate cave, facing his own mortality, that Tony Stark began his transformation. Imprisoned in the heart of the Afghan desert, Tony faced his mortality. Each heartbeat, amplified by the whirring of the electromagnet keeping him alive, was a stark reminder of his fragile existence. The shrapnel, lodged perilously close to his heart, cast a long shadow over his future. Yet, even in the face of death, Tony Stark's spirit remained unbroken. He refused to be a victim. He would not let the Ten Rings break him. Tony, with Yinsen as his confidant and collaborator, poured his genius into a new project, a suit of armor, a weaponized exoskeleton powered by a miniaturized arc reactor, a technology far beyond anything the world had ever seen. The arc reactor, a testament to their combined brilliance, not only powered the suit, but also kept the shrapnel at bay, effectively becoming Tony's lifeline. Days turned into weeks as they toiled away in secret, their determination fueled by a shared will to survive, and a growing respect for each other. Yinsen, with quiet wisdom, saw something more in Tony, a spark of heroism buried beneath layers of arrogance and self-preservation. He challenged Tony to be better, to use his gifts not for creating weapons but for something greater, something that could inspire hope.